Здравствуйте.
Good afternoon. Hello, dear friends. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on such a great day today. It's the Victory Day, the 9th of May, 2024. As you know, today's online class, the study of stanza 3, Sloka 12, is dedicated to the Day of Remembrance of the White Lotus. Around the globe, this day is celebrated with the feeling of gratitude for the Great Spirit, to our compatriot who has made a breakthrough for the humanity. We know that Blavatsky has made the breakthrough that hadn't been possible before, and the teachers of humanity say that only Blavatsky knew. It means that only Blavatsky could transfer this foundation, this system of knowledge that should have been manifested for the third millennia. This is the fundamental study, the fundamental work that we are dedicating to today's seminar. And today we are concluding our online seminars. We study stanza 3, Sloka 12 today, and this work, great work, has given the new impetus, has given the beginning of the new wave of interest to what Blavatsky meant in her works. Each of the comments of the Secret Doctrine are filled with meanings, and on this remarkable day, the heart is filled with gratitude towards Blavatsky, and we're mostly grateful for the opportunity to study her works. And the Secret Doctrine is dedicated to Theosophists, and it has its circles of learning. The first, the second, the third circles, we have gone through these circles, and we're completing circle 4 today. And the knowledge is opened up each time as part of the spiral. And they are opened up due to the life necessity. What happened before the time when the Secret Doctrine once again became in demand by human mind? The psychic energy was deplenished, and it was as if dormant, going into the dormant state. And when it happens, the psychic energy stops urging the human mind, consciousness, for action, and as a result, human beings are in the dormant state. When there is no friction, there is no urge for movement, for action, and this psychic energy, according to these laws of cycles, started to lose this friction, and some of the powers stopped urging us for action and went in the dormant state, and it wouldn't cause the emergence of fire. But we know that stanza 3, Sloka 12, is the state of the space that enables this fire to have friction, and this fire was built to give the beginning for this movement and action, to give way to the psychic energy. And today we can see that each of us every day has the opportunity to cause this fire, to start this fire that urges us for actions, and by doing so we can awaken our consciousness. The study of Agni Yoga, of the Secret Doctrine, and the practical application of that knowledge, when we accumulate this information within our own thoughts, consciousness, we open up our thoughts, we share our thoughts with each other, and we try to be better. That is when we consolidate this fiery energy. As a result, we have this friction. It is one of the laws of physics. The friction gives us fire. Stanza 3, Sloka 12 is the foundation of the emergence of the friction of the fire that awakens the consciousness. Today is the 9th of May. It is the day of the great victory, the victory over lack of knowledge, the victory over the separation. And it's no coincidence that, according to theosophical principles, all the religions, nationalities are united. They are outside of human races and nationalities. It is the cause that we should not only accept, we should know why this cause is right. And the Secret Doctrine gives us this knowledge. It's this origin, the cause of the great victory. And the 9th of May is the symbol of this banner that can be seen above all countries today, primarily above Russia, that has taken up this blow. This is the fight against the fascism. This banner is of the red color, red and blue, the combination of red and blue colors, the colors of Venus and Mars, the symbol of this spiritualized consciousness, and the banner of victory that we can see today. It is commemorating the 9th of May. This banner proclaims the respect for this great spirit that has been fighting for truth all her life. And she became the symbol of this victorious banner. And this is Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. And we congratulate all of you with this day, the day of the White Lotus, the Memorial Day of Blavatsky, and the day of the victory of the spirit. And now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Yari, the psychologist, the representative of the School of Theosophy. Once again, I'd like to congratulate everyone with the victory against the fascism, against the darkness that disrupts everything that is the building force. And I'd like to start with the thought of the day. Helena Petrovna has given us the thought of the day for our contemplation. The thought is the following: self is the Lord of self. Who else could be the Lord? With self well subdued, a man finds a master such as few can find. As you know, we're all looking for that great teacher, that great guru that is within ourselves. This is the higher self, or the Atman, which is within human beings. As Blavatsky says, the higher self is the divine spirit. It's Atman, it's the highest self. And those who are able to reach their spirit, they become the carriers of this crown, so to say. This crown that has the thorns, and the thorns, they pierce the thinker, the human beings. This is the story of betrayal and the persecution and all kinds of fight of light against darkness. And Blavatsky, of course, gave us the flourishing of the white lotus even after her death. And that is why commemorating the day of the death of Blavatsky the white lotus symbol was used. The lotus has many petals, and they symbolize the heart, this great magnet with help of which human beings can resonate, and they can reach the compassion and this great level of love that is founded on the union, on the gratitude, and on the great feat for the common good. Today's combination of Nidanas is the following, and we'll look at this combination from the standpoint of stanza 3, Sloka 12. 12 is indeed a number of the 12 dates, the 12 powers, the 12 principles, the 12 gods, the cause and effect connections, or this karmic law that primarily, originally has the impetus of the law of laws. It is the higher will in its freed form. When the spirit becomes matter and is covered with a substance, freedom of the spirit is manifested in the spirit matter, or Purusha and Prakriti, of the space that is symbolized by the area of the circle. Space is the beginning of everything. It's the origin of the first impulse. And the space is called the space of the substance. When it becomes the space of the mother, it gets the two properties of the two origins that are united, and they carry this potentiality that will be manifested in the form of the life of the consciousness. This is the combination of the form of the life and the consciousness. And it's an important point. It enables us to see straight away the polarity of the two original beginnings that have potentiality in terms of life and its manifestation in the form of the consciousness. This is a very important point. When we imagine a sphere, we'll imagine it as something abstract. In other words, we imagine it as space that has no beginning and no end. It's the space in its absoluteness, endlessness. When we can see the white disk on the black background, we can see the spirit of the matter. It becomes Svabhavat, and the area of the circle is manifested by the spirit matter, by the substance that is the beginning of the weaving of the web, of the cloth. It is the web, the cloth of the absolute potential consciousness, the powers, the properties of the spiritual substance that will be woven in knots. It's using the mother, and these are the atoms that will reflect the influence of that light of Fohat. In each atom of this cloth, it will reflect the potential idea that at one point of time will turn into Numen when the cloth will be woven. Then it will become Numen. And when Fohat starts differentiation or differentiating these atoms in their reflection, then the phenomenon will take place. And this phenomenon will be the powers of polarity that initially were the spirit matter and to later become the plus and the minus, the sphere of the internal world and the world that gives form to this internal world. That is what polarity gives us. And that's where we are able to see this movement and this prelude of the 12 gods in Fohat will found the first original causes of the future worlds. In other words, the worlds are created, and we can see the manifestation of monadas. What are monadas? Of course, we can say that monadas are life in its eternal continuation, that is trying to find the causes, the forms, so that it would be able to manifest its potentiality through the consciousness of the rational hierarchy of the powers that give order or that create this potentiality to give form to the thought of the possible matter or space. It is the ability to think, or rather to feel, any touch of any kind of vibration. We have this deep feeling that later, further, the humanity will develop as the eye of dogma. This feeling is prepared in this space, and it will become the field of Bud, the fields of battles. In this battlefield, the polarity creates this wave movement, the movement of the music of spheres. It's the cause, the origin of sound. And all that will be reflected in the properties of substances of Mula Prakriti, the power of Nirkashi. That is what it will turn into. But so far, her heart is just being sent to. This is the plan of the evolution, to send her heart so that it will start differentiating this web, this cloth. It will happen in stanza 4, but stanza 3 tells us there are 12 gods in the form of 12 zodiac signs. These gods will reflect the worlds in the form of constellations. Each atom corresponds to a particular vibration that will give impetus of eternal life, so that this life would be manifested. And to be manifested, it needs to have the form of consciousness. And here, I'd like to mention these gods, these constellations. And I'd like to move on to the understanding of the idea that this absolute consciousness, which is three in one, or it's stanza 3, Xian, is the awakening of the consciousness, the absolute consciousness. It awakens for new manvantaras, and to manifest the thought, the idea, we will look at the Kala Chakra and we'll see there are three heirs, and we accept these three heirs in the first sector as the first heir, the Gemini constellation. The second heir is the constellation of the Aquarius, and another one is the Libra. And we are in stanza 3, Sloka 12. It's the culmination of the consciousness mind that can feel. If we look at the Gemini sector, at the first heir, we'll see that it is the idea of the absolute consciousness that is ready to reflect these 12 gods as the wisdom of existence. Hierophant is the blue dragon. The space has the conscious phenomenon. It's the understanding of the idea that will be called the potentiality or the noumen of the divine thought or the universal thought.
The very idea is here, and in order for this idea to be formulated in the second sector of the air, the constellation of Libra is where we have the germ of those consciousness that will be able to give birth to a spiritual person, to give birth to the person that will have the feature of substance of the space that should be the basis for formulating the human consciousness. These germs go to the third air, and here we have the feeling mind. This substance is capable of feeling, of sensing, and in these Aquarius is where the feeling mind is formulated. That is the astral person that is formulated here, the substance, the matter that is capable of reflecting the reality of our world. From the first air it's carried. In the second air it gets the mind, the consciousness of features for this term of consciousness. In the third air we already have the ready-made consciousness that can perceive the being, the reality in its reality, in its suchness, in its real light, in color, in sound. We already have these bodies of feelings, of course, they're transcendental, these feelings I mean. Today is the red rooster. We have all combinations of Nidans expressed in the yellow rooster. The yellow rooster symbolizes the space of acquiring capacity to differentiate images. The yellow rooster can present us today in its reality and simplicity the great image of real nature of all things. It can present the very life in its suchness, in its clarity, in its real free movement and the great harmony. Fohat creates this harmony. Fohat follows the harmony as powers of the karmic powers Fohat. As these powers, it means that we can imagine the three worlds, the three airs. The three airs, by their principles, Hierophants of the blue monkey, the current era, the blue dragon, personalizing the constellation of Gemini, and Hierophant is the dragon of wisdom, and in the constellation of Libra, the Hierophant is the mouse, that is the basis of its vibrations in this world. It means its presentation of what? Of cosmic electricity, that in its suchness is Fohat. Fohat is the essence, and the correlating substance is the cosmic electricity, or the flow of life from this Fohat to every atom. Not Fohat itself is in the atoms, multiplicating as the great virtue. No, its correlating substances, its sons are there, and every time Fohat has its action, it means of action. This action expresses the triple nature as one in three, the very life of the mind. That is how life is presented by consciousness in every atom, by these points that I've already mentioned, the monkey, the dragon, the mouse, that are the Hierophants. These are the sons of Fohat. Every atom of these worlds is full of its features of electricity. So we have the karmic law starts revelating every atom from the thought that around the atom we see the starting movement of molecular nature. In this case, the formation of forms of life starts, of this or that kind of type of these forms. Let's start from the point that they are built by this Fohatic and karmic law in the worlds, but particular structures are built. They can contain this energy of life sent by Fohat as sons. Let's now try to understand that these sons are seven. Fohat has seven sons, but if these seven main sons are placed through human feelings and sensations, symbolized by the pentagram, we'll see that is the subtonality defined and revealed through the nature of human feelings. Then the mind is sensible, can feel, and through that, the space of our mind is brought to the point where we can differentiate images. That is how I'm bringing you to the point that as the 5 elements personalizing human nature, it's perceiving, they go in round 5 times. That is how we have the full consciousness capable of reflecting the reality in its complexity, in its unity. The 12 gods are the constellations for us. The Hierophants, I'll explain that these are the Fohatic features. The rays are many, but in the circle of time, we symbolize them as 12, as the 3 can be divided. The 3 is revealed as the 3 cruises of life: spirit, life, spirit, body, and soul. The 3 bodies, the 3 major energies that I've mentioned as Fohat, or the thinker, the air, the capacity of intelligence or mind that gives its reflection so that the intelligence can perceive and construct the analogy or bring the ideas into phenomenon, phenomenalize the space. As there are the phenomena, then time affects them. So the human being, if it has its consciousness revealed, then it can operate within the time limits, or it can always presume the cause that it can found in a particular moment of time. That is what is done right now by understanding time as the 4th dimension. And then this human being can combine the 4th principle with the 5th one, with the 7th one, in the 6th one. In this case, we have the synthesis. That is why Madame Rarich mentions this moment of synthesis as rare one, but Kalachakra allows us to abandon these limits that the very time brings into our consciousness as illusion. As we understand that time is cyclical in this phenomenal world, then we start living. Before that, we don't live. We are dead. Dead as spiritual consciousness. We are not monadic. Monadic person is the person only that has perceived the consciousness by expanding it. It can contain the boundlessness of the single that has its own phenomenon in time. That is why we should say that the absolute character has something to formulate in the human being. It formulates the feeling of beauty, but the feeling of beauty is related to synthesis. These 12 gods personalized spatial revelation. If we enumerate the 12 Nidanas, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The first Nidana, the ox or the cow. What kind of action is it? It opens the Laya center. The space gets alive and starts its motion. The second principle, the mouse, and the space defines direction, power, and quality of movement. The third one is boar, and the space that is in motion has consciousness formulated. The fourth principle is the dog. Then there is the personal consciousness arising. It's divided from the others. The fifth is the rooster. The space can differentiate images. The monkey, ability to touch upon other space. The goat, the sensation from this touching with others, with other spaces. The horse is eager for good sensations and it excludes bad ones. The snake is a definition of direction to develop. The dragon is the conscious existence of being. The tiger is giving birth to objects. The hare are the objects alive. Then it gets to know those objects, and there is also death in the hare. So here is life and death. But the Nidanas present today are surprising. The era of the white dragon, the year of the blue dragon, the month of the yellow dragon, and the Nidana of the blue boar, symbol of the week. The day we're in is the yellow rooster. So the blue boar is the symbol of consciousness that is revealed by the space. This combination of Nidanas symbolizes the Theosophy. It is the symbol of theosophical consciousness, as the theosophical consciousness operates categories of philosophy, abstract ones. For the consciousness, though, they are true ones. They are specific, as they reflect the causality of being. Thank you. Thank you. The Nidanas, opened by the 12 Slokas, and the Nidanas of today, of the great day to have, of course, symbolize the opportunities we have. Today is not just a great day. It has these great Nidanas. It's correlated with them. And I've just thought that this enumeration of the 12 Nidanas and the stanza 3 mean purification. I've just thought what gets purified at this moment as the space is in the formulation of the world in this stanza 3, Sloka 12. What is purified? The 12 steps of will, the 12 powers, the 12 worlds, the 12 atoms get purified by the will. Why? The very will gives us the impetus. That is the greatest secret. In this impetus for the world, the 12 sounds, the logoi, the septenal logoi in their essence, pronounce this victory. The yellow rooster, and the rooster is the symbol of victory. It exclaims the victory. Let the light be. That is the phrase. Here is the formulation. Let the light be. it contains everything. We can say that that is the creative world, the creative sound. Let the light be the most powerful sound, the greatest secret, because it's the first motion of Trinity. So the third stanza, 12 slokas in sound. The first motion of Trinity is breathing, sound, and light. When breathing becomes motion, sound, will, and light becomes consciousness. So we are ready to awaken the consciousness, each and every of us. And the whole universe in this sloka is ready to formulate the consciousness. Today, the interpreters are with us, Ksenia Persova and Alexander Bobko. Thank you so much. Dear participants, thank you so much for joining from different continents and ages of the world. And we're all grateful, of course, to the great Madam Blavatsky in this quite complicated online seminar that is the finishing one. That is the last seminar where we talk about the reasons, the causes, and the 10 lengths. And thank you so much, dear friends, for following the key points and the ideas. Probably new ideas will be expressed, as there are many revelations that we have that you've already heard. Probably they are this creative power or pronunciation of victory, let the light be. As we pronounce these three simple but great words, we prepare and we call upon and we open our souls for acceptance of the higher. Today's questions will be answered, of course, at the end of the presentation, as we've prepared this presentation with the key points. We've done our best to collect as many key points as possible, and we hope that the 12th sloka will be imprinted in every consciousness with its opportunities of wisdom without limits. So let's try to follow these 12 steps. The symbol of victory, let the light be. Sloka 12, the third stanza of the end.
Then Svabhavat sends Fohat to harden the atoms. Each is a part of the web, reflecting the self-existent Lord. Like a mirror, each becomes in turn the world. Then Svabhavat sends Fohat. And the first question is, then, when is it, and what happened before it became possible? We have used 4 previous shlokas that have the common concept. 4 is the complicated form, and it is the reverse loop that is manifested in shloka 12, and it gives the Svabhavat the opportunity to send Fohat. What happened before it became possible? Shloka 8 is the state of space when the 7 appeared. That was the light, the brilliant light, absolutely pure, inviolable, which permeated all planes of being from the unmanifested to the future manifested ones, thereby giving the power of victory over darkness. Shloka 9. What happened? Here, the great purification took place there, and after such purification, the place where the universe will be created was filled with the waters of life. This matter became a common universal mind. Shloka 10. And then there was power to fill this place. This place was ready. And this power that was to emerge is Svabhavat. It brought into the universal eternal pattern a construction impetus, this foundation, so that mind could resist the vortex, the movement of light, which creates the web. Svabhavat builds the foundation with its own body. Sloka 11. This web was widespread. When does it become possible? When two changed the universal pattern with their breath into many combinations and correlations, and the number of these patterns was unlimited. The matter cooled down from the fiery state and gave the suns the opportunity to manifest. There are many suns, but they are one, and they make up one whole. This is the heart. The heart is the connecting link of all powers and worlds, as it contains infinitude. That is how it contains infinitude. The key point. By the time of the events of Sloka 12, a great purification took place, filling the mother with the purest crystal waters. Warmth appeared. Svabhavat gave a construction impetus to the foundation for its body, and the base was filled with a web or foundation, so the suns or rays could spread this web and change the pattern. Who are these suns? These are the future individual worlds. Then Svabhavat sends the acting force. The acting force is Fohat. He is the law itself, the legislator, the acting force of this law and his executor. Blavatsky gives us a very important thought here, but there is something that is above this acting force, and this is Svabhavat. By powers of the higher will, Svabhavat sends Fohat to harden the atoms, to bring the powers of the mind from chaos into harmony and order. By this action, the universal thought is formulated, with a creative idea to create given to it. Svabhavat is above the acting force of Fohat. That is the connecting force. Svabhavat creates the fabric by the constructive impetus through its own body and sends Fohat, or the creating force. And so he sends something to act like the law. Svabhavat, father, mother, sends the Fohat, that is the sun who becomes the universe. Atoms are part of the universe. The boundaries for partial manifestation of the universe are defined by the atoms themselves, or the future worlds, as the man defines his own consciousness as the limitation or the infinity. Fohat makes atoms solid. How? By giving them the energy. It scatters atoms, which is the original matter. Fohat scatters himself, scattering matter into atoms. The key point, Svabhavat spins web through construction impetus, through its own body. Fohat scatters itself, scattering matter into atoms. The body of the universe is created from the body of Svabhavat and the creative force of Fohat, which transmits the creative potential of matter, spiritualizing it. That is when the pulsation happens. It comes from the acting creative power of the sun, the third force appearing after merging the father and mother, connecting the being and the non-being. Pulsation of the eternal life comes from the first flutter of the heart. The man pulsates or lives when he can formulate the thoughts or ideas by the creative potentiality of the mind. And now we are moving close to the key point of stanza 3, Sloka 12. Stanza 3, Sloka 12 is the pulsation of the eternal life, creating the form of the thought by potentiality of the mind. Thanks to Fohat, the ideas of the universal mind are imprinted on matter. What are these ideas? These are the universal projections. It's possible to imprint ideas or to formulate thoughts by action of Fohat, as the law of evolution is immutable, and Fohat is the acting force of the law, its carrier and performer. The key point: such opportunity comes with the first differentiation at the beginning of Manvantara, as the root cause of the world shall project the universe. The same way, the man shall become conscious, which is the idea of the universal mind. The form is required to imprint these ideas. How can this form appear? The form is the man, capable of expressing love. But before that, the universal consciousness needed to appear. The universal mind, or the universal consciousness, is the fundamental essence of all beings and becoming in the universe. It includes being and becoming, which took place in the universe before the concept of mind appeared. It examines inorganic being and becoming, as well as the interactions that occur in this process beyond physical and chemical laws. In order to understand what is beyond physical and chemical laws, we need to know what includes these laws or phenomena. Physical phenomena are the phenomena modifying, for example, the aggregate state or the substance temperature. The aggregate state of substance is the physical state of the substance, depending on the appropriate combination of temperature and pressure. Chemical phenomena are phenomena modifying composition and properties of the substance. And there's also alchemistry. It's the change, the modification of the thin substances that have the curing properties for human beings. Physical phenomena come without new substances formed, one substance transformed into another. Chemical phenomena produce new substances and transform the initial substances into new ones. Chemical composition of substances is not modified as the result of the physical phenomenon. How the alchemistry could change the properties of the thin energies. Copper was turned into gold. Poison was turned into curing medicine. The idea of the whole one medicine that can be the medicine which you can use to treat any disease, and alchemistry used to work on it, and Blavatsky says that this is the action of the psychic energy. It is the whole one medicine against all diseases. It can cure any disease in the world. The physical and chemical law, according to which the physical system mass remains constant in all natural and artificial processes in metaphysical form, according to which the substance cannot be created nor destroyed. This law is known from the ancient times. Another key point is nothing cannot come from nothing, and what is there can never be destroyed. This is one of the major ideas. Light, or the phenomenon of light, cannot be destroyed at this stage of evolution. It was possible, and it gave the opportunity to be indestructible. What is already there can never be destroyed. In stanza 3, Sloka 12, the light appears, the light that cannot be destroyed. This interaction continues to happen. They have always happened. These interactions have happened, are happening, and continue to happen. The universal consciousness is the source underlying these interactions, as well as the awareness and knowledge they imply. The Supreme Mind, the Universal Mind, the Absolute Mind is one of the attributes of the Absolute, or an independent entity, the intelligent root cause of the world, the mind that designed the universe. The Supreme Mind is defined as the Universal Soul. The soul is having its origin in the Supreme Mind, in which different forms of living being differ from each other. The mind as a set of concepts gathered under the definitional thought, will, feelings, is absolute wisdom exceeding the concepts of space and time. What do the notions of space and time include? Space and time are the main forms of the existing matter, inseparable from matter. That is why they are universal. Matter, motion, space and time are inseparable from each other. The key point, motion, is the essence of space and time. Space is the place defining the positions of physical bodies and the place for their motion. Time is the form of physical processes and the condition for modifying them. Usually, these spatial dimensions are required. These are length, width, and height, and only one temporal dimension is needed, which is time. It connects these three. Sloka 12 has connected these three dimensions. And created the preparatory state for the appearance of time. According to the Secret Doctrine, the mind also embraces three components, thought, will, and feelings, which are the absolute wisdom above all notions of space and time. It means it has no dimension and therefore is free from time. The key point is, mind is above notions of space and time. It has no dimensions. So what kind of ideas of the universal mind are imprinted by Fohat on matter? Blavatsky, in her comments, gives us the answers. These are the root cause of the world structure, which designed the universe. These are interactions of being and non-being. These are formation of inorganic being and becoming beyond physical and chemical laws. These are universal consciousness. These are awareness, knowledge, the universal soul, totality of thought, will, and feeling, and the absolute wisdom. Fohat imprints these ideas on the mother the following way, and it does it through electricity. And how does it work? It works as a mediator. Fohat is the mediator between absolute and conditioned power, as active and productive power, male and female. Fohat is the active male power of the female productive power of Shakti in nature, as the centripetal and centrifugal force, as the law of harmony and balance. Fohat is the law of harmony and balance. Fohat is a mover and the moved at the same time, as differentiation of Prakriti, the primordial light. Fohat is a term for Prakriti, the primordial light. When differentiated, it becomes Fohat. It's representative of the Manasaputras. Fohat is the guide of the law, its representative, and the representative of Manasaputras, which together constitute the eternal mind. Manasaputras, in Indian mythology, are 11 sons of Brahma born by him spiritually. These are 11 spiritual sons of Brahma, or Adam Kadmon, the symbol of the spiritual cross imprinted on the Kala chakra. Let's look at these sectors, the components of this face of Adam Kadmon, or 11 Manasaputras, the sons of Brahma. The yellow sector divine mind, wisdom, earth, Buddhi, the absolute wisdom, Taurus. Red is the sector of the fire, the spirit, Leo. The black sector is the water, initial birth, the great mother at Scorpio. And the blue sector is the air, the thought, the Aquarius, the era of Aquarius. Who are the Hierophants of these four great sectors that open up this face of Adam Kadmon? In the yellow sector, we've got the yellow snake, the divine mind, guarding the ring of snot. The red tiger is the birth of the spirit. The third one is the black bull in the Scorpio sector. It's the beauty and harmony of the thought, the blue monkey. It would be interesting to look at the numeral meaning of the Nidanas filling the face of Adam Kadmon, of the sectors of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. The yellow Taurus consists of the Nidanas 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The sum is 40 or 4, which is the beginning of the countdown form. That's when the great turn of the wheel starts. Red for the Leo, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 give us the sum of 115 or 7, the fire connecting the three unmanifested and the three manifested ones, which is motion. Black, which is Scorpio, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 give us the sum of 190 or 10, 1, the birth of the first spiritual man. And the blue, the Aquarius, 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 give us the sum of 265, 13, or 4, the form of beauty and harmony of the thought. And the sum of everything, if we add 4 to 7 to 1 to 4, we get 16 or 7, 7 motion or the opening of the face of Adam Kadmon by the sons of Brahma. The sons of Brahma, nature, was too pure to be different from the universal nature, but their ego of Manas, or they are called Manasaputra, born of Mahat or Brahma, had to go through the earthly human trials in order to become all-knowing and be able to begin the return upward cycle. If even the sons of Brahma, Manasaputras, had to go through human trials to be able to start the upward cycle in return, then starting the upward cycle for the man, it's required to attain the deadlock of the final form, to start spiritualizing it. That is when the face of the God is opened. And he says, so be it light, and you see your own face in the reflection, your own world in the reflection. You're inside the spirit, and you need to find the one there. According to the planes of it being, the earthly plane in the spiritual cross is the symbol of 11, defines the point of the return upward cycle. From this point, involution ends and evolution begins. 11 is the golden section of Kala Chakra, or the time phase, the turning point of the time, the opportunity to turn back the wheel of time, the flame of Fohat, the spiritual cross, the motion of spirit, the swastika. This is the great esoteric meaning of the golden medium of Kala Chakra, the golden section of Kala Chakra, and these are the Nidanas corresponding the golden section. They cross the cloth, the web. What are the Nidanas? The blue dog, 8, it symbolizes the strength of thought. The yellow blue, Nidana 23, symbolizing the divine realization, implementation of this thought. The blue dragon, Nidana 38, symbolizes the wisdom of thought. And the yellow goat, Nidana 53, symbolizes the divine love. This is the sum of the golden section. 8 plus 23 plus 38 plus 53 give us the sum of 122, or 5. This is the symbol of the man, the mind capable of starting the reverse upward cycle of connecting to the one. And the human being is able to see its own face, and 5 is the symbol of the consciousness. That is the spiritualization of matter. The awareness of the reasonable creative power takes place. How does it happen? By the action of Fohat, or the creative power.
The key point here is that Fohat can solidify atoms as a representative of the law of aggregates of the eternal mind, as spiritualized matter and materialized spirit as a representative of the Manasaputras, the 11 sons of Brahma. It can incarnate in the ego. How does it happen? The absolute wisdom throws away its reflection in its own thought creation, in some transcendent process beyond the frames of human mind and understanding. It gives birth to special cosmic energy, which is the energy of Fohat. It becomes the very flutter, and with its flutter, it goes deeply into the substance. Fohat makes it active and gives it the required directions of the post differentiations, and that all the 7 planes of the cosmic mind. Therefore, they're the 7 protiles, as they're called today, the 7 protiles, though the ancient Aryans called them the 7 prakriti, or the 7 natures. What do we have then? The numerous currents emerging. The one atom, or the universal mind, starts dividing into many worlds, ready for the appearance of the independent thought. Many intersected currents are filled with boundlessness, but none of them falls from the fabric of the universal mother. Each of them is part of the fabric, reflecting the nominal mirror of the eternal mind. That is, reflection of the divine mind happens like in the mirror of the soul. Each is a part of the web, reflecting the self-existent Lord like the mirror, which becomes in turn the world. So stanza 3, Sloka 12, they make up the Trinity, the beginning, the cause, the 12 apostles, the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 planets of the solar system, the 12 warriors, the 12th month of the year, the 12 verticals of icosahedron, the 12 edges of the cube and octahedron, the 12 faces of dodecahedron. It can be continued with no ending. What does it mean? The 12, the higher world, or the 3 is reflected in 3, so the 6-ray star is created. The intersection of the signs of the 6-ray star give us 12 lines or centers. The space is unfolded then. What does this 12 lines, the 12 centers mean? That is the passage to the worlds. All the worlds are connected by one cause expressed in 3. What is 12? 12 is 1 plus 2, which is 3. The great essence of the action 3 and 4, that is in Psalm 7. And in multiplication 3 multiplied by 4 makes 12, where 3 higher ones create form 4 with their essence in the movement of the cross, or X. 3 and 12, or 3 and 3, is the full reflection, acceptance and giving, the great interchange that begins with the bow of the universe. The bow consists of the 3 stages and is correlated with stanza 3, of course. What are the stages? To hold, to fill, and to give. What is it? The key point. Stanza 3 means the first 3 stages of the law of evolution, the 3 stages of the bow, holding or having the power, filling or having the wisdom, giving or having this love, means the great exchange of energies. The 12 solid atoms is where this great exchange of energies will happen. These are the 12 worlds, the 12 reflections of the self-existent Lord, the 12 Nidans of Kalachakra Hierophants, or the 12 warriors. Mr. Yari has mentioned in the beginning, these 12 Hierophants and what they mean, mutual exchange, is the great mystery, where we always give and receive the new, because it is the three merging in unity that give this opportunity to go beyond formal limitations. In this way, a new spiral of evolution ensures development in the boundlessness. The man must first be ready to give, and only then he can take what can form or imprint the ideas of the universal mind. Sloka 12 is deeply connected to the fact that every 10 years new possibilities or opportunities are awakened by going round and round through the 12 zodiac signs. The 10 is motion of Fohat, or 1 year. We know that it includes the 12th month going around, and then the nature of mind starts understanding and realizing the root cause, the spirit creative synthetic power of love. So the word voice of love must be heard and accepted before it comes, and then in giving we never lose anything. So the voice of love must be heard and accepted before it comes, then in giving we'll never lose anything. In Sloka 12, Svabhavat sends Fohat to form worlds, Fohat that creates the action of the primary fire energy, or the transfer of the fire of the primary energy to the atoms that become worlds. So also a human being manifests psychic energy of Fohat every time opens new thought or new world through the confrontation of two forces. What is this confrontation? It's this struggle or opposition between the free force and the constrained force. The free force is the inner one. It's the only one that connects consciously, and the constrained force is the external one, unconscious one. The intelligent or conscious force, the inner force, must take an external form of spiritualized matter. The form is exactly the result of interaction of these two opposite forces, and through this interaction, the free conscious force is able to act consciously. That is how Fohat acted, imprinting ideas on matter, giving form to life. Each of these forms of heat and power corresponds to one principle of the man, the seven-ray star, and therefore the human body and the human centers go according to the rays. The rays are the bodies of human consciousness. The centers of the inner heat are the centers of vital force. There is heat, inner and outer, in each atom. It means latent and active, dynamic and kinetic heat. There is the ever-present energy, or the force. The force is unity, or the one, manifested in unlimited variety. Think of unity. Bring your consciousness beyond forms and become one with the consciousness of everyone. The one who has this power of unity is the first man, who is called Swayambhuva, the self-manifested son of the unmanifested father. Swayambhuva, the self-born, is the name of inherent in every cosmic monad, which becomes the center of power from which a planetary chain arises. There are 7 such chains in our system. Manu Swayambhuva is Brahma or Logos. He's Adam Kadmon, who is in the book of Genesis, divides himself in 2 halves, man and woman, thus becoming Jehovah and Jehovah Eve. Just as Manu Swayambhuva, Brahma divides himself to Brahma Viraj and Vak Viraj, man and woman. The key point is that Brahma divides himself into male and female to give the third force of the sun, the universe, to become Logos, life, or the third one, the supreme mind, the universal mind, the absolute mind, which is the law of evolutionary motion. The laws of Manu say there are 14 Manu for each Kalpa, and in the current divine century there have still been only 7 Manus. Symbolically, the 14 Manu is a circle divided by perpendicular, 7 in one side, 7 in the other side, respectively, but in combination, in the sum of 14, 1 plus 4 makes up 5. 5, the symbol of person, is the symbol of mind. It means that initially there are 7 Manus with the following 7 as they form as cause and effect, beginning and end. Manvantara goes between the two manus, between Manvantara, between manus, between the two septenaries. Fohat divides the septenaries. Fohat is the ever-present electric energy. Fohat. Science concluded in 2024 that whole brain activity is accompanied by electrical phenomena. In 2024, it was published in NASA's Office of Technology in January. This NASA's Office of Technology, Office and Strategy published a report in which the agency reviewed the two previously published designs for generating electricity in space and transmitting it to Earth using microwaves, known as space-based solar power. It's called SBSP, the cosmic solar power. The idea of generating electricity in space using solar panels, then the energy would be transmitted using the high-frequency radio waves to ground-based receivers. The latter would in turn convert the waves back into electricity. The key point is, if cosmic electricity is mined, then energy sources are a potential viable form. If form is the result of the interaction of two opposite forces, centrifugal and centripetal one, plus and minus, then for each form, an image is initially created in eternity by builders or intelligent forces. And these images are reflected in the divine mind. How does it happen? Planets, atoms, or particles of matter are attracted to each other, not by straight lines connecting their centers, but by curves that spiral around, gradually approaching each other's centers. The straight line, how does it happen and why? The straight line, no centers in its motion, but the spiral motion creates centers of the future form sequence or ascension of development of planets and the changes of atoms. The phenomena arise from the opposition between constrained and free force, outwardly irreconcilable, but actually based on interdependence and harmony. The constrained will is the outer force, the free will is the inner force, which is what gives growth to consciousness of worlds. Fohat, having collected several clumps of cosmic matter on Nibali, will set his celestial body in motion again, giving him momentum, and having developed the necessary warmth, will allow him to follow his new growth. Any growth depends on inner power, because on our level, only this power is capable of acting consciously. It is free will that gives growth to the consciousness of the worlds. Fohat sets the celestial body of cosmic matter in motion again after pralaya by its impetus, by which this necessary heat for the future form is developed. Thus, Fohat provides to follow new growth or to follow the law. That is, to become a fully independent world, which is a reflection of the divine mind. That is the new point of reference. The journey of life begins. The new growth of spirit in matter, for it's only in matter that the new growth of spirit takes place. Matter is ready to give this new growth to spirit and to follow it. Then the man has nothing to hide, and our experiences become direct and naked when matter is ready to follow spirit as the free will. Then we have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. We've simply laid our heart completely bare. That is how the human being becomes warrior. That is how stanza 3, Sloka 12 is the symbol of the 12 warriors, who stand closely, side by side, even though they have never incarnate together and never speak to each other. And that is the place of the heart, ready to give love. That is what space sounds like with currents. The inner hearing refines the hearing of the outer. The currents can convey the sound of space, can change from the development of the inner hearing, which can go beyond the physical limitations of the beauty of the infinite or approach the source of light. The human face changes from the source of light, because the reflection of light is joy. This is the new growth of consciousness beyond time and space. The motion of Fohat gives impetus and develops the necessary warmth for the new growth of the inner power, and only this power is able to act consciously. The conclusion is, each atom became a world of mind, a reflection of the divine mind, open for the conscious inner power for the new growth. Then Svabhavat sends Fohat to harden the atoms. Each is part of the web, reflecting the self-existent Lord. Like a mirror, each becomes in turn the world. Thank you so much that with us you've gone through that way of the 12 steps, the 12 stages, the 12 rings, because on the 12th, the third stanza stands solidly as dodecahedron that is firstly revealed at the plane of mind and creativity, with the 7 ray stars symbolizing the 7 main planets. These are the direct currents that crossing the space give this this heating. It becomes fire. It calls out this fire. This friction moves us towards the fire. That is how psychic energy is transferred. That is the whole mystery, how it's transferred. The end of stanza 3, Sloka 12 is when everyone can become the world and create its own form and pronounce himself or herself this great Trinity, let the light be. That is the order of the pure will. The pure will becomes inner will. It is conscious of itself. So this great, powerful secret of secrets, the first motion of the Trinity, when breathing becomes motion, sound becomes will, and the light becomes consciousness, is the symbol of the third stanza, Sloka 12, or the symbol of light, leading us towards light. How this light is transferred, we'll tell you in answering the questions. Thank you so much for your questions, and we have enough time. We'll try to answer briefly. Dear friends, we have 24 questions to answer, and we'll do our best to concentrate and answer these 24 questions that you've managed to ask by listening the online workshop in the research of stanza 3, Sloka 12. Thank you so much. 24 questions, 2024, the 9th of May, the voice of victory, we can hear it, and we start our briefing. If in stanza 2, saying that the array is not yet entered and Padma is not yet swollen, it means that everything happened already in the third stanza, all these 3 components. Isn't that true? Mr. Yaro will answer. In stanza 3, yes, it happened. The chaos was set to order. That is stanza 3, where everything was already finalized, where all the waves had developed its proper vibration that can reveal worlds and monads, that can distribute itself, that can reveal the waves of consciousness. Thank you so much. It would be strange if the stanzas and slokas were not following each other. The next question reveals the components of the first question we have. In stanza 3, we read that the mother swells and the ray penetrates in the 3 fall into 4. It means that stanza 2 is described it before it happened in stanza 3. Is that true? Yes. The idea is where everything is formulated. It is what happened before formulation. These pre-causes were there, or causes before, causes without causes. When the three fall into four is when the whole idea is formulated and when the thought form is there for the future universes. If we follow it, the notions we follow, then Machi Padma had not yet swollen. When it swells, it becomes mother. The ray that had to penetrate as the single penetration of the ray, it penetrated the egg, and the three had to fall. In stanza 3, they fall into 4, so the second one is not manifested, the third one is manifested. Thank you so much, and we're going on with our blitz because we have the 24 questions, and it means we have 24 brief answers. Stanza 2 is the duality, a revelation of potential polarity. In Trinity, it should be brought into third stanza, and the third one is the divine mind, isn't it? For me, these 3 stages and the 3 stanzas are the 3 stages. It's like potentiality of the 3 logoi. It's like cause without causes, causeless cause, and the primordial cause. They reveal the whole potentiality of this absolute state of mind. It's like a precursor of the 3 worlds that will soon become in this great Trinity, spirit, soul, and body at the planes of manifestation. They will also always follow the 3 that fall into 4, and the phenomenon is created. Yes, that is how stanza 2 is connected to the third one. It gives the third power in this connection and combination, the power of mind. That is how stanzas interact with these 12 phases, 12 stages. Then the atom solidifies the future worlds. The next question is, motion, is it one of the aspects of absolute? In pralaya, there is no polarity. Then how does motion in pralaya happen? There is no motion in pralaya because it's pralaya. There is just duration. In the absolute, there is no motion. What we call motion, something should move. It's manifested after differentiation. Then there is polarity expressed according to the polarity. Duality is there. Duality creates the motion. The question is caused by the fact probably that Madame Blavatsky always says in the commentary that pralaya contains everything. There is everything in pralaya, but there is a subtle point that pralaya is not just a non-manifested motion. It's subtle to the point of breathing. Breathing is not manifested. It cannot be manifested. We can say that pralaya is the non-manifested breathing. It is there, but it doesn't breathe yet. It will start its first inhalation, exhalation only afterwards. Then the breathing is there. Only then motion starts. That is how it happens. That is how pralaya is felt, as the hidden motion, as the decomposed motion. Next question is, if atoms solidify, does it mean that Fohat becomes harder, and then the higher will gets harder? That is a question Fohat cannot be hardened because it's the divine creator or the mediator, first of all, between everything. Everything can solidify, atoms can solidify, and life will be limited in them. It will be more composed with less speed. Yes, atoms can solidify, not Fohat. Atoms solidify doesn't mean that they become hard. They become independent. They become powers. They become worlds. That is how they are solidified. Fohat does not become more solid. It doesn't have these features. It just gives the impetus that is its task. Fohat gives this impetus for the following new growth of these independent atoms, solid already, the higher will. You cannot materialize the higher will to the point of the aspect of its hard state. The human being becomes hard in the higher world, gives impetus to motion. Fohat gives this impetus for the life to be. That is how it happens.
You know, stanza 3 presupposes the following. It presupposes the solid center. It's like we need to hold this force. If we are able to use the attributes of the material world, if we use it way too much, we won't be able to see it. Absolute is the unsaid, the higher mind, the higher consciousness is something that's unreachable. We need to hold this center. We cannot make it dirty with our understanding of the material. In Sloka 12, stanza 3, the universe received, or rather got its own center. Vladimir Vasilyevich, what is your point of view? The universes, just like our universe, are now in alaya. They're not in laya. The thought form of the universe needs to appear. Then the laya will start expanding through Fohat. The differentiation will start. So far, none of that exists. And Blavatsky says, maybe we didn't look in the comments in detail. Sloka 12, stanza 3 says that the universe becomes the universe. The universe becomes the universe and nothing more. That is the simple, brief answer. The idea needs to form so that the thought, the gold and the iron egg would appear, so that something would form. And then the formed will become the idea, the plane, and it will be perceived as the universe. The next question is about the atoms. The energy is given to atoms so that they could function. Well, you can say that the life impetus is given to each atom, and each atom that gets this possibility unleashes its potentiality, its world. I think I'd like to clarify a little bit. What does it mean the energy is given to the atom? It's not the energy that's given to the atom, but the impetus is given to the atoms. The impetus is given to the atoms, not the energy. The function of the atom is in its constant transformation into various forms of life. It gives birth to one energy, transforms another energy within itself, but it is given the impetus so that at this stage, the universe would be formed. As for the impetus given to the atom, I'd like to say that Fohat gives the magnetic capacity. It gives polarity to the atom by this energy. And then, around the atom, the movement of molecules starts in the future. But that's how the magnetic property of the polarity is given to the atom by this impetus. If the molecules are responsible for the color, the atomic energy is responsible for the sound, and the ether energy connects the sound and the color and gives it the movement. This is the threefold nature. This is the Trinity of stanza. It's one of the forms. We continue our questionnaire, giving brief answers to your brief questions. Each Self-Lord has their own world. What is the world of the self-conscious one? The Self-Lord has the ability to give forms to any world according to its development and improvement. It can be the spirit of the planet, it can be the creator, the builder, and the manifester. What is the world of the self-conscious like? It is our own world. All of us are self-conscious, and in our self-consciousness, we, without any doubt, separate ourselves from the whole, from the one. We think that many things do not have nothing to do with us, but this is our egotism. I think that the Self-Lord has the united world, not its own world. Its own world gets the form once the Self-Lord manifests the higher ego, the consciousness that becomes the major focus. Only then the world of the self-consciousness is being built. Just as a clarification, as for the thought can freely get to the center and get out of the circle of the limited perception of the everyday thinking, updates the notions, the images given by Blavatsky, and that makes the study of the Secret Doctrine endless. The imminent fire, is it the moment between the past and the now? Well, there is no imminent fire. It's a spark, just like neuron that exists in our head, and we need to learn to notice this moment, and this moment happens now, is happening in the moment of now. If we start noticing the process of these sparks, of these fires, we will start feeling the life, and we will turn into the living beings. So far, we are the dead beings. The fire cannot be understood, but this moment that you're asking about, the moment between the past and the future, is when our consciousness records this fire. And this fire is the endlessness. It's all of our forms. The movement of fire is endless at the point of when all the centers of the universe are open. So that is the question. Well, the question is very short, but you still need to explain everything in a short answer. They cannot be opened due to the force of law. The law has its own order, and that is why the centers of universes are opened up due to the cycle of the necessity. The cycle opens up the opportunity for the worlds, for the solar system, for example, some possibilities, and the sun allocates these possibilities by these impetus every 11 years. These are the impetus of sun. The movement of fire opens up the centers of the universes. What is the center of the universe? It is the cause of the future worlds. Someone needs to open up these worlds, and this Fohat impetus hardens the atoms for the future worlds. The consciousness, the bodies are formed. If only after purification, the space where the universe was created, it was filled with the waters of life. Does it mean that humans start living the conscious life only after the purification? Well, we can say once the consciousness is awakened, the process starts and human beings start living truly. The review of the values takes place. Due to that, the consciousness awakens, it becomes thinner, and for that we need purification, and the process of asking questions, answering questions, looking for knowledge is called the purification, because we all will continue this purification until the race 7. After purification, what does it mean? It means after the dissolving of the lower, then the form becomes a sensible, and then we start following the higher self, and then the psychic energy becomes conscious. That is what Sloka 12 was talking about. Thank you for your question. The suns change the cloth of the universe, creating its pattern. What pattern should human beings have so that the cloth would expand and spread? Well, I'll start with human beings, and Evgenia Mikhailovna will continue. When human beings start weaving their own pattern in the cloth, they need the pure thought. Once they have the pure thought, they can weave a good pattern according to their worldview. What pattern should human beings have? They should have the pattern of harmony. That is the pattern with which the cloth can expand and grow. The next question. Svabhavat creates the cloth through its own body. Fohat spreads itself, spreading the cloth to the atoms. Is this the matter? Thank you so much for asking these key questions. Is this the sacrifice? That was the question. Fohat is the mediator. Fohat is love. And love, as human beings, we understand to be a sacrifice. But when we look at the whole one, it is not the sacrifice. It is the necessity, natural necessity to create the existence, or creating the existence in its order according to its laws. It's interesting that human beings call this natural necessity a sacrifice. When Svabhavat was creating the cloth by spreading its body into atoms, it was the evolutionary necessity. And we call it this sacrifice, but it was the necessity that was understandable necessity for the spirit to be materialized, for the higher forces to act. If Sloka 12 is the pulsation of the eternal life that creates the form of the thought, the potentiality of the consciousness, what is the meaning of the potentiality of the mind, of the consciousness? The potentiality of the mind, of the consciousness, is the manifestation of life of the consciousness. It's the potentiality of the eternal life. The next question: if the independent essence is the future life, does it mean that human beings can create their own world? Well, all of us are independent in this world, but as for the responsibility, there are not many responsible people. We need first to become responsible, and only then we'll be able to build the world that will be on par, in line with a common good. Then human beings will be able to think independently. According to Sloka 12 laws, atoms harden and they become the independent worlds that have this independent essence, which is the original cause. And it means that human beings can think independently. But we shouldn't forget one thing, though. One thing is when human beings create constantly their own world. It is the worldview, and human beings can be responsible or irresponsible, but they still create the world. And what kind of world we'll have, it will depend on the individual choice. Consciousness cannot be measured, as you have just said in the presentation. So what can be measured? What can be measured? Everything that has the phenomenal manifestation. So we cannot measure the consciousness, but we can measure the time. That is the short answer. The next question. And time is the phenomenon of life. The phenomenon of electricity is cosmic and the earthly. We've got the cosmic and the earthly electricity. Human beings have electricity as well. What kind of electricity is it? What is it responsible for? It is the same one as that of the space of cosmos, but human beings are the feeling consciousness, and it means that each of us have urges, and they give impetus to the energy, and that's how the electricity is created. Each hope, love, desire, feelings, all that functions just like sparks of electricity. The electricity is created when the connection takes place, and Christ is the manifestation of this connection. Or Leonardo da Vinci, he painted this great painting with the crucifixion. It is the connection of the cosmic and the earthly energy. Only human beings can connect the cosmic and the earthly electricity. This is the evolutionary purpose, and human beings can do it only through the cosmic energy. If we draw a comparison, and it is important today, it is the concluding seminar today, we need to understand how it can be applied by human beings. Stanza 3 is the foundation for us to understand ourselves. Light exerts significant pressure, and on multiple occasions we have said that Sloka 12, stanza 3 symbolized the germ and the pressure of light, the light that can exert such pressure constantly moves these germs from one planet to another within any solar system through the light pressure. Stanza 3, Sloka 12 means that the mass of light was created and it is ready to move the germs, the consciousness, along all the solar systems through this energy. Human beings of the future, through their psychic energy, can follow this mass of light, or through the light movement or pressure, they can transmit the germs and move the germs from one place to another, just like in race 6 or 7. In the ether space, we'll be able to read thoughts. Human beings will be so pure that this pressure of light will be only natural, and that's how the psychic energy will become the conscious internal power. And the next question, the return upward cycle, the reverse upward cycle, why is it necessary? I think we didn't mention it. The reverse upward cycle, why do we need it? It is the necessity of the evolutionary processes. It's the development of this or that form of consciousness. Also, I'd like to say that it's the renewal. At the very beginning, we voiced the thought there is a particular cycle when the psychic energy starts losing its power. And we need to have the countdown till the moment when the psychic energy would start the renewal. Before that, it was dormant until it reached the 4th stage, and then it starts arising. And the physical power diminishes, the psychic power grows, and it becomes mature. The reverse upward cycle is needed because the psychic energy needs to mature. The next question. Multitude of the currents that cross each other. Do they exist within human beings? What kind of currents are there? These are our meetings. We are encounterings. In the nature, we can encounter one kind of currents. In the crowd of people, we can encounter other currents. Each currents are individual nature. They have their own crossings of rays, of arguments, of disagreements, and probably sometimes harmony. It occurred to me that the crossing of currents is the structure of the nervous system of human beings. It consists of these currents that cross each other, and it accepts the currents, and human beings assimilate, accept, transform these currents and get its own emanation, their own emanation. These currents are the auras of human beings. And these crossing currents do not leave us. The auras can expand until eternity. These are the points of the crossings of the currents. One cause is expressed by 3. Does it mean that there are always 3 in the cause, not 2, not 1? What are the 3 components of the causes of human actions? The 3 causes are 3 our bodies that perceive one and the same thing. On the material world, we perceive the material forms. We live in 3 worlds. The physical world, we use our senses to see and feel the forms. On the psychic plane, we can see the positive and negative feelings. On the spiritual plane, our spirit gives us the impetus, the urges to implement the phenomenal, the material wishes, and that happens in all the worlds. The causes of actions is the idea of the thought, the second one is the form, and the third one is the action. These are the 3 components of the cause. Any thought can be materialized through the idea and its form. How the internal and the external warmth influence on human beings. The internal warmth creates the excitement feeling, and the external warmth sends the warmth to us that enables us to live uh, and have wealth. The external gives the force, the power to the body, and the internal gives the life to the soul. That is the answer that I would give. The next question. The change of atom, the change of human consciousness, are they the same? Can they be compared to each other? I would say that atoms do not change, but human beings change their worldview. The movement of atom is in its eternal variety of forms. Why cannot atom be reached, understood? It is always the new form. That is why. And human beings are the center of the universe, or the matter through which comprises the atoms, and human beings' consciousness and its unity also has its earthly form. So I would say yes to this question, and I would say no, just to create the mystery for you. Atom can be combined, and then it gets transformed. But the transformation of atom happens due to the annihilation process or the dissolution process. The dissolving of the potency that is no longer needed. It is used, or it was already used. The essence of the atom is life, and life just changes its combinations, but it's not the atom that changes. And we cannot say that human consciousness has the end, and we cannot say that the atom has an end. The atom is endless, just like human consciousness and human development. This is the major thought, and I think we were able to get it out of Vladimir Vasilyevich. Well, according to your question, it is not like that, but according to what we've just said, if we follow this logical thought, then the answer is different. So we've got more questions. When is the new point created, and when is this new point created for human beings?
It happens when the human being has fallen to the bottom, and then the values can be reconsidered when the person is not satisfied with his own life. When he wants to know the purpose of its existence, and this point just brings a person to the moment where he wants to know the answers to questions of why he is there and what is the point of life. The new reference point for the person is where he can reject the past, and when he abandons and rejects it, this new reference point can be there. Until abandonment is there, then you cannot appear. It's mutual exchange. The 24th question. Thank you so much for this great question. Thank you for following the presentation and the key points. If every atom at the end of the stanza is the new point with new consciousness and in power, to what shall the person open to start the growth of consciousness? The human being shall open its consciousness. It means to open the inner human being, and this human being is opened by the three keys: love, beauty, and knowledge. in order to start the growth, we shall become reasonable, and we become reasonable as we open to the higher, that is heat, light, and will. When these three become one, we become reasonable. There is an image of Fohat that corresponds to stanza 3, Sloka 12 as well. Actually, it's triple. Fohat is love, C, Christ, and A, Atma, who as these as the monadic substances that are more crystallized. Who are these ilkas? They are mediators between spirit and matter. The LCAs, ilkas, are the neutral centers, so mother, father for every soul in the universe. To reconsider their role in the universe, it's not possible to overestimate them. And the person who studies the growth of consciousness becomes this neutral center at first, or the mediator between spirit and matter, crystallizes the monadic essence and becomes reasonable. Only afterwards he can reveal the emanation of the divine monad, or the reasonable actions. Thank you so much. We are beyond the limits, the time limits. I mean, the 2-hour workshop that was supposed to be duration of the seminar. So stanza 3, Sloka 12 was finished today, but it doesn't mean that each of you cannot or will be limited in the conclusions of today. We hope so much that each of you watching this video today, being in the common field with us or will be watching it, will definitely find his own reference point, the point for the growth of consciousness, his own thought, independent thought. It happens as the end of Sloka 12. Each of us becomes the world, so let each of you be your own world with your own formula, and let this form be beautiful. As Madame Blavatsky has said, we've finished with stanza 3, Sloka 12. This material is the cause for the future form, for every consciousness, and let anyone prove the opposite. Thank you so much. Wish you luck, and today is the 9th of May 2024. This blitz of questions and answers of 24 questions that have just re-established the stanza 3, Sloka 12, like this purple flag and its spiritual fire with the fiery symbols, keeping the secret of secrets. Let the light be. In memory of Madame Blavatsky, who has given us the Ariadne's rope, let us keep it alive. Let us stick to it, and that is how we will solidify the name of Madame Blavatsky, for which the humanity shall bow to her. Thank you so much. Madame Blavatsky became capable of this fire, calling to action, and that is how each of us, creating our own world and beautiful form, shall be capable of this, initiating this fire and this friction, these fire emotions, call to reasonable conscious action of its own love. And that is how we wish you light and love. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. Goodbye.
Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. Dedicated to all true Theosophists. Book of the Third Millennium.
Blavatsky only new.